Stop right where you are. Pause everything you're doing for just a moment. Beloved soul, listen closely, because what's about to be shared here will still your heart, even if only briefly. Don't scroll past this. Don't look away, because at this exact second, something greater than coincidence has brought your eyes to these words. Picture this: someone you gave your whole heart to, someone who smiled at you, who once whispered love into your ear, carried something heavy inside them that they couldn't bring themselves to face with you directly. Instead, it slipped out elsewhere. A piece of you, something sacred, something meant to live only in the quiet space between the two of you, was revealed to another woman. Yes, your partner spoke about you to someone else. Can you feel the air shifting around you right now? Some part of you already senses that something was said behind closed doors. I understand that feeling. It hits like a shock straight to the chest, a heaviness that leaves you completely speechless. But pause here, breathe, because none of this was meant to break you. It was meant to open your eyes. What was said to her wasn't a weapon aimed at you, not at all. It was simply a mirror, reflecting their own guilt, their confusion, their inability to carry the weight of choices they'd already made. And the woman who heard it wasn't chosen to destroy you. She was simply the vessel heaven used to bring a hidden truth into the light. Stay with me, because this story doesn't end in betrayal or tears. It ends in revelation, in strength, and in you rising higher than you ever imagined. What was whispered behind your back is now placing you at the very front. What was hidden in secrecy is becoming the exact reason clarity, freedom, and justice are opening up ahead of you. Do you feel that trembling in your chest right now? That isn't weakness. That's your spirit recognizing this moment as an awakening. You weren't meant to stay in the dark. You were chosen to hear this and step into a life where nothing hidden holds power over you anymore. Before we go further into what's being prepared for you, protect this space by typing in the comments, "I am shielded from every lie." Do it now as your own confirmation that you're ready to receive the truth. Here's the deeper truth behind the pain you're carrying right now. C.S. Lewis, in his Reflections on Suffering, once made an observation that applies directly to what you're living through, that we're able to overlook comfort, but pain refuses to be ignored. It functions almost like a wake-up call too loud to dismiss, something that forces attention where quieter signals failed. Let that sit with you for a moment. The suffocating hurt you're feeling right now isn't punishment. It's a wake-up call. For a long time, the warning signs were subtle, quiet nudges you were too invested, too forgiving, too in love to fully register. So the message had to grow louder. The illusion had to be broken completely, because you were being pulled out of a dynamic that was slowly working against your own growth. You are valued too deeply to be left tethered to someone who handled your heart carelessly. Their failure is being used in this moment to break chains you didn't even realize were holding you back. If you feel this wake-up call resonating somewhere deep in your spirit, if you sense that this painful exposure is happening for your protection, subscribe to Lewis Legacy right now so you don't miss what's coming next. Messages meant to guide you through what lies ahead. Now think about the woman who heard those words. Maybe at first she felt trusted, even a little proud, mistakenly believing that knowing something private made her special, somehow above you. But look closer at what's actually happening here. She isn't your rival. She isn't someone worth your energy or jealousy, and you should never lower your own standards enough to feel threatened by her. In truth, she's simply an unwitting messenger, a temporary vessel used to carry a hidden truth toward the moment you needed to hear it and grow stronger because of it. She doesn't hold your future. She has no claim to your place in this story. She's a minor character in a much larger plan already written for your life. Don't let this deception convince you, even briefly, that your worth has changed. What was once a secret whispered against you is becoming the very foundation you'll rise from. Remember the story of Joseph, thrown into a pit by his own brothers out of jealousy, sold into slavery, left for dead in their eyes. They believed they buried his future for good. What they couldn't see was that their betrayal became the exact path that eventually led him into a position of real authority. As it's written, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." That's exactly what's happening in your story. The betrayal and the fleeting satisfaction of the person who heard it is that same pit, but it's being used to prepare your rise into freedom and peace. Every hidden conversation, every quiet deception is being repurposed to serve your growth. You didn't lose a loving relationship. You were pulled out of something that was quietly limiting you. And the other person is simply inheriting a burden you would have carried yourself had you stayed unaware. Take a moment and sit with the weight of that. Because whenever something is spoken in secret, it doesn't stay hidden forever. Eventually, truth finds its way into the light. Betrayal always operates under the illusion that it can stay buried, but it never really does. That's simply how truth works. It travels, eventually, toward exposure. You're learning this now because you were never meant to remain unaware. There's a line often referenced in scripture that captures this perfectly. That nothing hidden stays hidden forever. That everything concealed eventually comes into the open. Whatever was whispered that should have stayed protected becomes, in its own way, a kind of accountability. And there's a broader idea, one C.S. Lewis returned to often, that dishonesty and betrayal don't create anything new. They can only distort what was already good and real. What happened behind closed doors wasn't a reflection of your worth. It was a distorted, desperate attempt to undermine something genuinely beautiful. But someone else's lack of integrity can never define who you actually are. Nothing born from someone else's weakness can dim what's true about you. If you feel the weight of that protection settling over you, if something in you recognizes that clarity is being restored right now, follow that instinct. Subscribe to Lewis Legacy and turn on notifications so you don't miss what continues to unfold. Beloved soul, stay with me a little longer because there's a deeper layer of truth waiting here, one that confirms your worth beyond question. This isn't a story of loss. You were chosen to rise above whispered secrets and someone else's guilt. Your presence, your authenticity, has always had a way of stirring reactions. Jealousy, speculation, tension, even when you're not in the room. That's simply what happens when someone lives with real integrity around people who don't. Let me explain further. Heaven is not staying silent about what's happening in your life right now. There's a sense in which everything hidden, every quiet confession made behind closed doors is being repurposed for your elevation instead of your harm. What was meant to humiliate you is instead becoming something that highlights your strength. Think of Corrie ten Boom, the resilient woman who survived one of history's darkest chapters in a concentration camp. When she eventually came face to face with the very guard who had once tormented her, she didn't let bitterness take root in her heart. She leaned entirely on her faith, asking for the strength to choose forgiveness instead. Through that single choice, she proved something enduring, that a soul anchored in something greater than itself can withstand almost anything, including profound betrayal. That same kind of resilience lives in you right now. What someone else chose to do can never diminish who you are. It only reveals something about them, while your own character remains steady. If you feel that inner strength resonating with you, like this video and share it with someone who needs encouragement through a difficult season. And if you'd like, comment below to affirm that strength for yourself. There's a noticeable shift happening around you right now, a sense that things are settling into clarity rather than confusion. That shift isn't random. It reflects something deeper, the sense that whatever unfair judgment or manipulation might have been aimed at you no longer holds power over your story. What was taken from you through deceit is being restored through clarity, and the very words meant to diminish you are being reframed into something that ultimately strengthens you. Let that truth settle in. The pain you've carried through this betrayal was never capable of permanently defining you. If anything, this experience is functioning like a refining process, burning away what was fragile or built on illusion, and leaving behind what's genuinely solid and lasting in you. Whoever was involved in this deception, along with the other person who received that secret, may believe they hold some kind of power over the situation, but they're mistaken. Your story doesn't belong to the people who mishandled it. It belongs to you, and no one else has the authority to rewrite what you know to be true about yourself. Even if rumors or whispers try to unsettle you, they can't touch the deeper truth you carry inside. Stand tall. You don't need to shrink yourself for anyone. Consider, too, the emotional reality often carried by someone in the position of the other woman in situations like this. She may appear confident on the surface, even satisfied with what she's learned. But carrying a secret that was never meant for her often brings its own quiet unease, a private discomfort that has nothing to do with pride and everything to do with holding something she was never meant to hold. You don't need to respond or retaliate. Deception has a way of eventually surfacing on its own. In Mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis made an observation worth sitting with, that people who give in easily to temptation never fully grasp its power, because true understanding of resistance comes only from those who actually fight against it. In this situation, giving in to deceit reflects weakness, not strength, and that weakness carries its own quiet cost. Even if someone tries to project calm or happiness on the outside, unresolved guilt tends to weigh heavily beneath the surface. Meanwhile, you, the one who felt the deepest impact of this situation, are actually the one moving toward genuine freedom and peace. If you feel a sense of relief or clarity as you take this in, save this video so you can return to it whenever doubt creeps back in, as a reminder of where you stand. Take a moment now. Pause your racing thoughts. Relax your shoulders. Wherever you are, take a slow, deep breath. Let this moment settle. Instead of viewing this experience only as a wound, try seeing it as a turning point. A moment that, however painful, opened a door towards something clearer and more honest. Picture, if it helps, a rope that once tied you tightly to someone else's dishonesty and secrecy. That rope has been quietly weighing you down. What feels like painful exposure right now is, in many ways, that rope finally loosening. If it feels meaningful to you, take a moment to quietly affirm to yourself, I release myself from carrying weight that was never mine to carry. I return the burden of dishonesty to where it originated. I choose peace moving forward. Exhale slowly. Let go of whatever tension you've been holding. That release is real and it matters. What felt like exposure and heartbreak can become, over time, proof that clarity eventually finds its way through, and that you were never meant to remain in the dark about your own life. As we come to the end of this reflection, let go of any lingering fear or self-doubt. You are not defined by what someone else chose to say about you behind closed doors. You're defined by how you choose to move forward from here. This painful chapter isn't the end of your story. It's simply the beginning of the next one. C.S. Lewis once wrote something worth holding on to, that there are better things ahead than anything left behind. Let that truth settle into you. Whatever you've lost through someone else's dishonesty is small compared to what's still ahead for you. You're stepping into a new chapter, one shaped by clarity rather than secrecy, by peace rather than uncertainty. You're allowed to move forward as someone stronger, someone no longer shaken by hidden words or quiet betrayals. Lift your head. This chapter is closing and a new one is beginning. If this message brought you any comfort today, feel free to like it and share it with someone who might need encouragement through their own difficult season. And subscribe to Lewis Legacy if you'd like to continue receiving reflections like this one.